Hi, my name is Mike Mulligan, and I'm CEO of Mulligan Associates. We're a 36-year career planning and management consulting firm that worked with over 6,000 people that lost their jobs, and we've helped them to get new ones and advance their career. Today, we're having a webinar that's focusing on how to chart your career journey and acquire that next position. Because if you don't know how to do that, you could really end up where you want to be in your career and life. Let's talk a little bit about planning your career and life. Planning is where you are today and want to be tomorrow. Where do you want to be tomorrow? In 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years? When do you plan to retire? Most companies and organizations that do not have a business plan will fail. What happens to you, the individual, who does not have a career and life plan? Well, let's just say 75% of the people in the United States of America make less than $50,000 today. Why is that? Because they do not have a career plan and they don't manage a career journey. Most high schools and colleges in America and even companies do not work with individuals to help them plan where they are today and where they should be tomorrow and how they get there. 60% of college students will change their major 2 or 3 times. And what this does, it takes longer to get out of college. Over 60% of the kids in college today graduate in 6 years, and this creates a lot of debt for the student to pay and his parents. Most Americans will change their company and job many times. Having a 401k plan, which means maybe retiring much later. During the early work years before 1990, people had more job security. They might have worked for 1 to 3 companies. They were part of a succession plan, so they knew they were going to be moving up the ladder in some way, career ladder. The company took care of them. They had a pension, health insurance, vacation pay. They had the boss for many years and felt comfortable with that person. And the focus was both on the employee and making profit. And all of a sudden there came a paradigm shift, and it became, after 1990, less job stability and security. Wall Street became king. So if you're looking at many of the companies where you can invest, everybody wanted the stock value to go up. And by doing that, they had to reduce their costs, like downsizing, letting a lot of people go, outsourcing, cutting the person in procurement, and technology took away a lot of jobs. The private companies who furnished a lot of materials to the Wall Street companies had to reduce their costs, stay in business, and the nonprofits couldn't get as much money, and they had to scramble for more money. And then along came the private equity firms buying and selling companies. And then we had unions, and the unions became more into the public sector, which created a stir for bigger salaries, pensions, more benefits. And today, that's what's going on. So it's caused a lot of havoc in the workplace. If you're going to plan your career, we have come up with a model that you might want to follow. And we call it the Route 5 Career Pathway Plan. And we have a book on our website, PDF or soft cover, that you can purchase. What it really says is that you should try to plan your career 5 years at a time, mainly because as you Start going to school, you get smarter, get more degrees, get more work experience, and you get to meet more people. And so you start to have an opportunity to move your place wherever it is up the career ladder. And then the other five is the career transition stages that you'll be going through. You start out in a career, then the second stage you start advancing, and then the third stage you peak. This is usually in your 30s, in your 40s, and early 50s. And then the uncertainty stage is when you get to be about 57, 58 years of age, and you don't know if the company wants to keep you anymore. And of course, when you get over 60, it's hard to find employment. One of the things that we ask you to do in this 5-career pathway plan, as you take a look at completing what we call 5P career growth goals each year. This is a model that discusses advancement. The first one is to position yourself on the right career pathway. The second P is once you decide what career pathway you like to go on, how do you prepare for that work sector, for the industry, for the functional area? What do you go to college? You go to a trade school? You go to service? Do you do it mostly from on-the-job training? And then once you get prepared for the career field you want to go into, you got to run a job search. You got to figure out how to place yourself in the target career field in future positions. The fourth P is performing the tasks and meeting them so that you meet these career growth goals that we just talked about, and keep your job and advance. And the last one is anything you do today, you certainly want to have personal satisfaction with your performance and your situation. That's what it's all about. You want to like to go to work. Let's talk about the first P. It's positioning yourself on the right career pathway. Let's talk about 3 steps. The first step is to know yourself, your academic strengths and weaknesses, your interests, what you're interested in, and your personality has a lot to do with the career path that you might want to be on. Your skills, your knowledge, and work experience that you've acquired along the way. And step 2 is to know the world of work. And many schools today are talking about career clusters, but we think everybody should take a look at the work sectors, because they are different. The industries, the functional areas, and positions that you could play. And you put them all, you know yourself and you know the world of work, it's a lot easier to select your career field position best for you now and in the future. So basically you stay employed. Career path can be moving up the management or non-management ladder. A management career path would be advancing from being maybe a supervisor to a manager, and up the management ladder to chief level officer, chairman of the company. A non-management role would be in the technical person, blue collar professional, but the career path would be one who works in a particular functional area in an organization and doesn't manage other people, but has projects that they might have to do on the team. Career path is really moving forward in a number of positions in a specific industry since starting work. For example, if you're in education, you could be assistant professor, associate professor, full professor, then move up to department head and dean. If you're in the security business, start maybe off as a policeman, detective, chief, then become a consultant in the security industry. At a bank, you start off being a teller, a loan officer, banker, branch manager, and then maybe president of the bank. Construction, start off being an apprentice, and then you move up to maybe being owner of a construction business. Let's talk about the career pathway by work sectors. One of the biggest employers is government positions. You have local positions, your mayor, your chief of police, firemen, people that take care of placing things in the city. Then you have the city, state, and federal agencies and government. Then you have public schools, K through 12, public colleges and universities. Then there's the military, and then the police, the FBI, fire department. These are all positions that you could occupy, and they are the largest employer. And I don't know if you thought about working for the government, but that is a work sector that provides more security than any other work sector. Wall Street companies are stock where the stockholders invest. And then whoever's running, usually the Wall Street companies, have a lot of pressure on them to make sure that they make profit, hit the profit objectives, and that the business is sound, and they keep coming up with the products and services where they can make enough money so the stock prices keep going up, which makes the stockholders wealthier. The privately held companies, there are just a few owners usually in a privately held company, usually the entrepreneur type. And this person is usually, many times it's family owned, and they run a business, and then they run it for so many years, but much of their money has to depend on products and services that they provide to the community or to Wall Street companies. So they're sometimes put under the gun to make enough money for cash flow stays high, and they make profit. So they might have to cut people. So you take Wall Street and privately held companies, these two are areas that you could lose your job based on how the company's doing. Where government, you have a little more security. And then the other area, franchises, you could buy a franchise, but usually the franchisor tells you they have rules and regulations how they want everything to be run, which in a way can be a plus. But at the same time, you might not like it. But if they've learned from the past, they can help you be successful. So when you take a look at some of these work sectors, you want is government best for you? Wall Street, privately held company. You could start off with that company and maybe buy them out and grow the company. But it's the best way to get started in a way. And then buy a franchise, or you could have your own consulting firm. But that's a hard way to go too. Another career path. Moving from non-exempt to exempt status in a company. What do we mean by that? Exempt employees are paid in salary rather than an hourly wage. And typically, it's the executive, the supervisor, professional outside sales positions, the person that has the main salary, and it's called exempt. But they are not paid by the hour; they're paid by doing the job. The non-exempt employee is hourly paid. Employees usually fall within the category the federal minimum wage for each hour worked and given overtime pay are not less than 1.5 times their hourly rate for any hour worked beyond 40 hours each week by the law. But you are paid by the hour. So do you want to be exempt or non-exempt? Let's take a look at some of the industries that you could go into. Aerospace, communications, media, news media. Boy, that's a big area today, covering everything under the sun. Entertainment industry, high tech, that's certainly where we are today. That's a good area to go into. Healthcare is another good area. Can't get enough people in that field. The insurance industry is growing. You got to have insurance. And here again, the public, the government industry sector. Packaging, what do you think? Products are packaged today. Again, where can you get a degree in packaging? Real estate, it's always going to be a strong market in real estate usually. Software program, that's an area too. These are all pretty good areas of industries that airline is suffering right now because of the virus, but it will come back. Agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, these are all areas you could think about. Banking industry, construction industry, finance industry, manufacturing. Hospitality is hurting a little bit now because of what's going on, but it's going to come back. Transportation, retail and wholesale. These are all industries. The security industry certainly is the way things are going on today, might be a big industry for you to get into. So these are all things, industries, and there are a number of them that you might want to do some research and see which one might give you the best chance to stay employed and enjoy your work. Okay, let's talk about functional areas. What do we mean by that? Do you want to go into management, some kind? Sales? Would finance be your area? Good with math and good sales, good with working with people, making sure you get the product or the service for the company. Technology, is that for you? The legal area? Human resources, big area. Always need good HR people. Logistics, how do you move product to market? And the labor operations, manufacturing, service industry, functional area. The question next, out of the 5 Ps, is how to prepare for some of these positions. When you look at high school, if you can take a look and see where you might want to go, let's say construction or agriculture or something of this nature, technology, you look at your curriculum and see what the high school offers. And then your extracurricular activities, there might be clubs that would give you a better idea of the field you might want to go into. And leadership, but taking on some leadership roles certainly would help you later, maybe in that as you go in running your own company or be in management of a bigger company. Part-time work can give you some good experience for your resume and to know what you might like and not like, and then different community activities. College, the curriculum, of course, when I was at the University of Georgia in the admissions office, we had 140 majors. So many times it's hard to study all of those things, but you want to do some research to find out what connects to the career field or the functional area that you might want to go into. And again, you've got the extracurricular activities, leadership roles that you could play in different organizations, do some part-time work, internships, community activity. All these things can help prepare you for a career pathway that you're thinking as you move along. And as I said, 5 years out, and with an ultimate career goal to put you in a place where you want to be by the time you're 45, 50, 55, or 60 years old. Graduate and professional school is really a real place for what I call the launching pad, because you could go take a lot of courses in 4 years to get your bachelor's degree, but usually the graduate professional school is more specialized in what you want to do in your career journey. And I think an area that's really overlooked in terms of preparing people is the in-house on-job mentoring program, plus going to professional meetings and getting certification in certain areas so that you become more of an expert at what you want to do. Your challenge today is really to continually perform tasks that will position you, prepare you, and place you in the work sector, industry, and positions that will provide you with employment and personal satisfaction on the job. Summary, you will constantly be facing change. Continue to position, prepare, and place self in the place where you want to be in your life using the Route 5 career pathway plan as a guide. My dad was a pipe fitter. I would have been a pipe fitter, but it was through my obtaining my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and my Ph.D. that helped me put me in a place where I want to be in my career in life. And you have to plan where you want to be in your career in life and take the steps at a time, and you will get there. Welcome back. The second part of our program, career planning and acquiring a new job. We're talking about acquiring that new job. And it takes a good plan here as well to keep getting new jobs as you move along in your career journey. And basically, when we talk about acquiring a new job, we have to have a plan and a strategy to get as many interviews as we possibly can. And with the interviews, if we know how to interview well, and we know what we're looking for and what to say, we'll get some good offers. Then we can decide which one we want to take, which will help us move down the career pathway to the right place where we want to be. Let's talk a little bit about the books that we have at our website, managemycareer.info, that could help you plan and acquire a job. I've written the book, My Career Mentor and Me, or the Route 5 Career Pathway Plan. And it's a model that help you, like we talked about a little bit earlier, positioning and preparing and placing and performing and having personal satisfaction. It's a guide to help you get that next job, and all ages could use those two books. But the next book, my career transition model, moving out, moving up, is for the older and experienced working more for the executive, more so than anybody else. And then those that are in college can use the 5-goal college plan. The whole idea is to try to get out of college in 4.5 years with a job in the right career field. Let's talk a little bit about the positioning placement, placing yourself in the right job. Let's talk about 5 steps here. The first step is to identify your position and industry target. If you don't know what you're going after, it's hard for people to help you. So once you know what your industry might be, or the work sector and the functional area in a position, and you're sure of what you're going after, and you've got a good program where you prepared yourself with some work experience, academic credentials, then you can start preparing your marketing materials, the resume, the letters, cards, write articles about your field that brands you and sells you. And this is so important today, unless if you're talking about playing baseball. If I'm looking for a second baseman, I want someone that's maybe played second base before. And so your resume would certainly say a second baseman. Or if I'm looking for a good infielder, someone that can play 2 or 3 positions plus outfield, I'm looking for a multi-position baseball player that is a good hitter. So the question is, when a person reads your resume, you right away, they look at the words that brand you and helps them figure out if this is the right fit for you. And the step 3 is we need to get as many informational high-stress interviews as we possibly can, because you learn as you get into some of these interviews about yourself, how to better describe what you can do and interact with people. So 4 is interviewing practice. To obtain that offer, it's just like any sport. If you're not batting practice, it's going to be hard to hit. If you're not fielding practice, it's going to be hard to field. And if you're interviewing, you want to work on those interviewing skills. And once you get an offer, you want to be able to negotiate in the right way, so it's a good offer for you and a good offer for your new employer. So we talked a little bit about your 1, 2, 5-year career plan, the sector, industry, position, so forth. Question is, what sector and industry are you in now, or are you most interested in moving into? And the present position now, the one I'm presently targeting is, again, the sector and industry might appeal to me in 5 years would be. So again, it's trying to decide your sector, your industry, and your functional area, and your position, so you can start to tell people. If you don't know where you're going, other people can't help. And we talk about the resume, the 1-page profile document. When you're trying to build up your network, you want to come up with some kind of a 1-page document that tells people about you. You don't have to get into all the detail. And then a career profile card. You can have a card with your background. So if you go to meetings, it's a lot easier to pass out cards than those 2-page resumes. And then many times, once you get going in your profession, being able to join committees, write articles, gives you some credibility and builds up your credentials. And your marketing letters, email, regular mail, and fax, these are all important. Putting together letters that really tell people who you are. And one of the things you should think about is the voicemail at your home. I've worked with over 2,500 executives, and many times I've called their houses and they have their children answer the phone. It's kind of cute to hear their voices, but when you're looking for a job, you want to have a professional voice on that phone that's very succinct and precise and sounds like your business life. The resume, the types of resume formats. The most popular with retained recruiters, a lot of people, is the chronological resume. It describes your first job all the way to your present job, and you start off with your present job. The functional resume is more about different functional areas, or areas that you might be good at doing. If you're, let's say, a financial executive who's had demonstrated accomplishments as a controller, treasurer, accountant, you can mention these different areas and tell them more about what you're doing, and put your chronological list of companies in the second page. The broadcast letter is a nice 1-page letter to a company, just describing you'd like to work for them, and a summary of what you've been able to do and what you can do for them. Again, examples are in the 5-Goal College Plan. My mentor me, Route 5 Crew, and Moving Out. These are 4 books that we have sample resumes and marketing letters in. You can also go to your career center at college or your local library for resume help. They're pretty good at helping people. Take advantage of them. A resume is usually 1 page long, or for a college student, it can be 3 pages for an executive who has many accomplishments. A lot of times, professors, people in academia, have done a lot of publications that would be almost their third page. And but you don't want to just have a lot of information in there that's not needed. You have to think about what job you're going after and who's going to be reading that. Qualification summary is key to start. This is what I always work with my clients on. It brands you. It tells the reader your position, your industry, and demonstrated achievements. You can see examples in the books I mentioned. For example, a finance major, this is a college student, has had internships with a major bank, money management organization, private equity firm, viewed as a person who thinks critically and a good communicator and team player. That's pretty strong qualification summary. Accomplished regional sales manager has an excellent track record managing sales staff, printing industry that meets its sales objectives year after year. Proven human resource leader. We're back here in a fast-paced, multicultural manufacturing environment, focusing on building key partnerships, support the strategic missions of the organization while organized, flexible, analytical, particular, and diligent. You can see the way we branded these individuals. Step 3, the informational or high stress. This is the college plan. Start developing a network your freshman year. What I mean by that is list the parents of your friends, alums that might be in a major you want to go into, people that you meet. Get their names, get their cards, and start building it up, and you can put it in the computer. Start identifying some of the companies for possible internships and future employment. Start building your resume freshman year in college. Work with College Career Center, major professor, and organize a career advancement college networking team. This is later when you get to be in a particular major. You might get 6 or 7 of you and help each other in terms of finding out where the job leads are and helping each other get in those interviews and stay together until you're 30 or 35 years of age. On LinkedIn, whatever, just helping each other out. Networking is powerful. Start your job acquisition plan early in your senior year of college. Read websites, LinkedIn, aftercollege.com, college grad, career builder. These are all mentioned in the books that I told you about. Contact all your mentors on your Triangle mentoring team. I suggested in 2 of my books that you start off with a Triangle mentoring team. The first mentor is your family mentor, teaching you how to iron your shirt, make up your bed, cook a meal, interact with people, budget your money. And the second mentor would be your career pathway mentor, somebody that would work with you through the latter part of the high school and college, maybe until you're 28 or 30 years old, forever. And your specialty mentor, which is the third part of the triangle, is someone along the way that you need information from and teach you how to do something, whether it's computers or software or how to balance your budget from your banker. People that can help you, but the more people that help you can be part of your network and stay in touch with them. If they know what you're looking for, chances are they know somebody that can get you some interviews. And then you want to go to professional meetings and meet other professionals and recruiters. And then the control blitz technique is where you reference your essay, you identify key people in the audience and ask them if you could meet with them for 20, 30 minutes to do informational interviewing, just to find out more about the company and see if that's a place you want to work. And it's pretty powerful. So when you're looking for jobs in your company, Again, you want to develop your network in the company. You want to work with your boss and ask him if he'll be a career mentor to you, helping you be successful at what you're doing and learning about future jobs in the company or someplace else. Identify department heads and get to know them for future employment. If it's a big company, you want to stay, you want to maybe work and meet these people through your boss in case there's another job that opens up for you. It's a advancement. And keep your resume up to date with all the things that you're doing that are good. And I talked about the Triangle Team Leadership Program that it's in a book I wrote called Selling as a Team Leader. It's where everybody works together and the manager helps each individual become a star in what they do, and the department great, best in their field and their functional area. So everybody's growing. Everybody wants to advance. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody likes challenge. And continue to look at your company website for future jobs. These are some of the ideas looking for a job in your company. For those that want to look for, they're outside the company, might have lost their job, the ABC network, we'll talk about that, Control Blitz, search firms, employment agencies, websites, and social media. And so we'll talk about these. Let's go back and task number 1. The ABC network is an idea I came up with. It makes good sense. The A group, if you lose your job, it's people that are referenced that will vouch for you. And if you can find 5 or 6 people that in the company or people you worked with before, and you tell them what you want to do, where you want to work, sector, industry, functional area, part of the country, then you ask them, can you give me the name of 2 or 3 people that I could contact? So the A's give you 3 people. So that adds 18 people to your network. Now you're up to 24. Then as these 18 people will talk to you by Zoom or on the phone or whatever, and you can express what you're looking for. Then ask them if they got 2 or 3 people, might be contain recruiters, continue to recruiters, whatever. And then if you just get them 2 more, that gives you 36 people. So when you add it all up, that gives you 60 contacts. You don't want any more than that in your network. So now the key here is that you put together almost a little newsletter and send it with these emails and to keep these individuals up to date every 3 weeks about who you're seeing, what kind of interviews you're getting, and ask them if they got any more ideas. Tell them where you need some information. You'd be surprised how powerful this is in helping people get a job. Just unreal. Control Blitz. You go to the library and you go to reference U.S.A. and then by industry, you can identify the companies by size, by their sales volume, location, based on where you want, how far you want to drive, and you identify these companies. You carve out a good letter with your resume, and you send it. You call and you find out from reference U.S.A. The person's still there. Send them a copy letter and follow it up, and ask them if you could come in and talk to them and learn more about their company, and if there might be a slot for you there. And have good questions ready when you go to see this person. And at the end, thank the person and stay in touch with them. Task 3, let's talk about search firms and employment agencies. If you're making over $200,000, you want to get a list of retained search firms. They don't want to usually fool with anybody that makes less than 200 grand. If you're around 60, 150,000, there's a list that you can find contingency firms. These are people where HR asks to help them find candidates, but they don't get paid. These guys at retain get paid automatically, and they will have a list of criteria that the company's looking for, and they'll introduce probably 3 to 4 or 5 people to the company. But usually that's why at the upper level, they spend the money and hire these people, so they get probably the C-suite type executives. Contingency firm gets the managers or the key workers, and that HR can't find. You can only don't work more than 2 or 3 of these contingency firms, because you don't want them to 2 or 3 of them to be introducing you to the same company, and make sure you know what they're doing. And then if you make under 100,000, 75, they'll have temporary contract staffing people that there are companies just want people for a certain period of time. It's important to build your contacts with recruiters, and they should be part of your ABC list in your industry level of pay. Obviously, when they have assignments that match your background, they will call to see if you are interested. Online websites to find particular jobs. Rally Guide, these are recruiters. And these are in the books that I wrote. The social media, few websites just to give an idea. Indeed has a lot of jobs mentioned. Monster.com, CareerBuilder, Job Hunt. These are ChicagoJobs.org, and their LinkedIn has a way of putting a profile on LinkedIn, and there are many recruiters that pay big bucks to find people on LinkedIn. And Margaret Dickel had a book out with that, The Library Guide to Internet Job Searching. You might want to check it out. The support groups are very, very important. College support group for your bachelor's, graduate professional school, the church. A lot of churches have support groups. If they don't, they should start them. The professional support group by functional area. I've worked with a lot of executives over the years, and I really like the idea that they might find 6 or 7 people that are in the same functional area and meet and share job leads. Because let's say if you live in Chicago, there might be a job in Atlanta or San Francisco. Question is, will your spouse want to move? But still, you get more job leads, and it might be the kind of a job you can't turn down. And LinkedIn, you can form a number of good groups on that group too. Interviewing is key. It's step 4. And we have a number of books on our website that really helps you ask the right questions and know how to answer questions. The informational interview, I think, is a very powerful interview. You're really trying to introduce yourself to somebody in the company, and you're trying to find out more about if that company or industry is something that you want to go into. Sometimes your industry might be shutting down. In other words, the jobs are disappearing. So if you want to move into another industry, or this would be a nice technique to go talk to people in another industry and see how you could make that transfer from one industry to another or work sector. In the phone interview, two questions that most people have trouble answering is what are you looking for and what are you making for a salary? Because they're always afraid that that might bump them out of the interview, not getting the interview. And then the high stress interview is where you're going up against 2, 3, 4, 5 other people, and it's a real job there, and it's whoever seems to perform the best in selling themselves that gets the job. Here are some things that we talked about on the different phone interviews. Phone contain preliminary questions that tell it it's worth the time to meet face to face. Would you be interested in discussing the position as client with an organization? Review your credentials and career path. What is your present salary? That's what I mentioned earlier. The high stress pre-interview check. Get there early enough. Know what the company's all about. Know what to do and not do when you're interviewing. Answering the questions precisely and knowing what questions to ask the interviewer. In fact, as they get you the offer and how to follow up. These are all on the books that we have written, and you can check them out. And the pre-interview, we're going to go through this a little bit. I'm going to go through it fast. Know the time, place, and date of the interview. Study the company. Know the questions to ask. Get enough sleep the night before. Researching the company. Reference U.S.A. $1 million directory. LexisNexis. One other points to remember. Obviously, when you meet the interview, you want to smile, not break his hand when you shake it, and know where he'd like you to sit, and have good eye contact, and you're not going to be chewing tobacco or gum. Be prepared that your answers don't give long answers. Keep the conversation flowing between the two of you. I always see it like a ping pong match. You want to keep the questions and the time limit to a point where at almost equal time. Let him do more talking than you or her. The knockout factors, let's talk about those a little bit. If you don't show confidence and you're not prepared to answer the questions, and you have poor personal appearance, know-it-all personality, negative, can't express what you achieved in, these are all things that can hurt you. How to answer the interviewing questions. You can learn them from the books I mentioned. Talk to your career mentor if you have one. And I have lots of questions in this book, Moving Out, Moving Up, and the 5-Goal College Plan. Some tough questions for college. What is your major and why did you select it? What courses do you like best and least and why? How would you describe yourself and strengths and weaknesses? What are the most important rewards you want out of your job? What are your short and long range goals? What do you know about our company? What do you think you can do for us? Why should we hire you? 7 tough questions for the seasoned guy. Tell me about yourself. It's amazing when I put people on the audio video. I ask them, tell me about yourself. They want to get right into their resume. They want to sell them. They'll talk 15 and 20 minutes. This commonality is a big thing. You can just talk for a minute and a half. Where you're born, how you grew up, who your parents were, your siblings, what you like to do, your family. You might have something in common with the interview, and all of a sudden they really like you. What is your present situation? Be ready to answer that one. Why do you think you would want to work for our organization? What is it about that find you attract about this position? What ideas have you sold to management and where you work? Please give me an example of the project you were responsible for starting and finishing. They want to know how you think and how would you describe yourself as a leader. There are team member leaders and team unit leaders. You play both roles. Questions college students can ask. How do you and the organization work with your employers to help them get a good start? What is your vision for the department? What do you see as the top 3 objectives for this department? What challenge do you see making in the future? Changes do you make? What is your leadership management style? How do you describe the culture, department, or company? How do you help your employees in their career development and future plans? These are good 7 questions. Questions seasoned job seekers can ask. What are the biggest challenges facing the organization department? What do you see as the most pressing aspects of this job? What would you do done in the next month or 2? How would you describe the culture of the organization? How do you like to help people grow and advance their career? How does the organization compensate employees for outstanding performance? What keeps you awake at night when you think of work? Why are you good at them? You establish rapport with the interviewer, have something in common, and she likes your personality and the way you relate to him or her. That's important. There's more people that are let go because they can't get along with their boss or other people. It's the chemistry that's important in a lot of ways in keeping your job and working together. You get this offer because you've done this job before in the past and have the experience, skills, and knowledge to do the job again. Or show you learn fast. You know why you've been hired to help the interview look good. Setting and meeting department objectives, which includes gaining, keeping customers, and making profit, balancing the budget. You come across as a hard worker, flexible, and a team player. We call it, in many cases, it being really a team player and getting along with everybody. When offered a position, think about your situation and not ask for the moon. Are you coming right out of college and you are in technology or have a degree in demand? You might ask for a little more. Are you in a position where the company's trying to recruit you away from another company? That gives you more power, position power. If you've been out of work a long time and have a degree, it doesn't excite employers. You might need to negotiate smarter. Private, small companies need the expertise, but might not be able to pay like larger companies. So maybe on-the-job training might be something they would do. What recent grads might want when you're looking for a salary to live on, health insurance, a boss should be a career pathway mentor to them, vacation, and pay, chance to learn and attain professional growth, challenge, caring work environment, travel, chance to obtain a graduate degree at the expense of the organization. What would a seasoned employee might want? Decent salary, pay bills, health insurance, and vacation. Manager will help them be the best at their job and chart a career path. 401k or a pension, child daycare, being challenged. These are some things. Feeling of security and being part of the team is very important for a lot of people. What do seasoned employees want? Is salary, pay bills, health insurance, vacation. Manager help them be the best at what they do. 401 child daycare, being challenged, so forth. We said that senior executives might want top salary and stock options, incentive pay, sign-up bonus, insurance supplement, deferred compensation, company car, membership, living in different tax, more vacation, severance guarantee. In summary, just remember your job search never stops. You should always have your eyes and ears open for positions within your own organization and know when it's time that you should leave. I hope that you've gotten something out of this webinar, and if you get a chance, buy a copy of some of the books I mentioned, and all the information I've talked about are in there. Thank you.